Hello and a very warm welcome. This is the news on Enter International. My name is Justin Bemuyi and here are the major stories. President Buhari welcomes the collaboration of Saudi energy company with Nigeria towards reviving the nation's refineries. Nigeria and the Socialist Republic of Vietnam signed bilateral agreement to strengthen diplomatic and economic cooperation.
Back on a diagnostic assessment of refineries, pipelines, depots, and other infrastructure across the energy sector.
We've made very good progress. We are going back very happy. We're going to set up teams. What we have agreed is that we're going to set up teams on our side and on their side, and we will discuss further. They are coming to Nigeria to look at the refineries and the state of affairs of the pipelines, and then we'll take it up from there. Next year, first quarter, we are starting with the rehabilitation of Port Harcourt refinery, and I believe that by second quarter, we would have made some good progress towards the rehabilitation of Kaduna refinery as well. One of the promises the president made on second-term election, is to ensure that we have our refineries working again. Because as you all know as Nigerians, if those refineries are working, our expenditure on subsidy will reduce. And that's really what we are pursuing. That's why we came out here, to ensure that our refineries work and the ancillary pipelines work. And we are dedicated to his promise to deliver to Nigerians.
President Muhammadu Buhari also received in audience the United States Secretary of Treasury, Steven Mnuchin, how Nigeria can leverage on available opportunities in the development of finance cooperation towards enhancing the socio-economic transformation of the country dominated discussions. The cooperation manages a $60 billion fund set up by the United States government to help African countries address challenges of development.
We don't know exactly how much we'll get from it, but a $60 billion fund is available, and we will pitch for it. We will talk to them, and then we will see how much of it we can attract to Nigeria. Mr. President identified power and the general upgrade of our infrastructure. So we're going to, when we discuss the details with the Development Finance Corporation, we will come out with the details of the exact projects that will be funded from these funds that we'll get from the U.S. We also discussed issues around anti-terrorism, because the Assistant Secretary for Terrorism also came with the Secretary of Treasury, and we had very good discussions.
Similarly, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Niyi Adebayo, engaged various investment funds, including Asma Capital, funded by Saudi Pension Fund, Saudi Investment Agency, as well as the Sultan of Brunei and the Kingdom of Bahrain.
They are very interested in investing in Nigeria, but unfortunately they've had a very bad experience in the past. And I promised that I would look into that issue when I get back home and see if we can come to a resolution of that particular problem. And I've asked them not to allow that to becloud their interest in Nigeria, because they have expressed that they are seriously interested in Nigeria. They're interested in funding infrastructure projects, power. They even went as far as talking about investing in pharmaceutical industry in Nigeria, because the chairman of the fund, who's one of the governors here in Saudi Arabia, is on the board of one of the biggest pharmaceutical manufacturing entities here. We're trying to get them to come and invest in power in Nigeria as well. So there are many areas that we're trying to get them to come and invest. Basically, they're looking at investing in infrastructure projects.
The minister and the potential investors have agreed to further their conversations. From Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
In the meantime, a high-powered Saudi-Nigeria council is to be set up as part of deliberate measures towards deepening relations between the two countries in critical economic sectors for mutual prosperity. And this came after a high-level engagement between President Muhammadu Buhari and the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Stella's correspondent Adamu Sambu again reports.
The meeting between President Muhammadu Buhari and the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman is a follow-up to an earlier engagement with the Saudi monarch King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud. The Crown Prince was accompanied to the talks at the President's Lodge by 4 key ministers of the Saudi government, indicating the respect and enormous goodwill the Nigerian leader enjoys, as well as the high esteem in which he's been held in the kingdom. Discussions held behind closed doors centered on security, economy, petroleum sector, and indeed issues relating to Saudi-Nigeria Council, soon to be concretized.
And this will be a council of ministers that will identify areas of cooperation, meet twice a year, and set targets and implement those targets over the 6-month period following each council meeting. Saudis are very keen to maintain and enforce agreements reached under the ECOWAS Plus agreement, to keep to certain targets for each country, and pointed out that this is really the way forward for oil-producing countries to be able to maintain an adequate price level for petroleum.
Consequently, the Saudis expressed desire to invest in Nigeria, particularly in the oil and gas sector, but made a case for some safeguards and security.
You know, we're really looking at attracting foreign direct investment in Nigeria. A lot of effort has been made to make it easier for people to do business in Nigeria and attract as much investment as possible. And we have seen over the last few months that the Saudis have invested huge resources in India, Pakistan, and 2 or 3 other countries. And the Crown Prince mentioned that today, their willingness to invest those kinds of resources, you know, in the billions of dollars in Nigeria, if the right environment is provided. And so it's extremely important, because that's precisely what we need now in the country. Our revenue stream is not where we would like it to be. We're paying huge resources on infrastructure development and other areas of our economy. So we really do need that revenue stream. And Saudi Arabia is a country with very huge resources, and if we can attract some of that into Nigeria, then Mr. President's plans to pull 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in the medium term will be even more feasible.
During the meeting, President Muhammadu Buhari described as welcoming the renewed interest by the Saudis to invest in Nigeria's economy, and reaffirmed his commitment to providing the enabling environment. In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari has arrived the holy city of Mecca to perform the Lesser Hajj, otherwise referred to as Umrah. He was received on arrival at the Royal Terminal of King Abdulaziz International Airport, Jeddah, by a high-powered Saudi government delegation led by the Deputy Governor of Jeddah Province, Prince Abdullah bin Bandar bin Abdulaziz. From Mecca, Saudi Arabia, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And still on bilateral ties back here in the country, Nigeria and the Socialist Republic of Vietnam have signed a bilateral agreement to further strengthen diplomatic and economic cooperation. And this was when Vice President Yemi Osinbajo received a large delegation of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam, led by the Deputy Prime Minister. State House correspondent Gideon Ifadi reports.
Nigeria and Socialist Republic of Vietnam have maintained cordial relations over the years. The two established diplomatic relationships since 1976, but this is about the only time a high-level delegation from Vietnam would be visiting the country. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says the visit of the Deputy Prime Minister is therefore significant.
We have decided that we will be looking at the possibilities of setting up a binational commission between Vietnam and Nigeria, so that we can concretize some of the areas of cooperation and some of the ideas that we discussed earlier today. I'm confident that we can build on the successes recorded in the past, while we forge new areas of cooperation in boosting trade and investment and social and cultural relations between our people. We even agreed that we'd like to promote a friendly match that's a friendly football match between Vietnam and Nigeria.
We signed an agreement on waiver of visa for people carrying diplomatic and official passports. That, I believe, is the first step, and we certainly intend to build on that.
The Vietnamese Deputy Prime Minister thanked his host and the country for the warm reception, affirming his country's commitment to working with Nigeria. The two toast and exchange gifts to a new beginning of greater bilateral relation. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NT News.
In another development, Nigeria will consolidate on existing multilateral cooperation with Japan to attract new technology and expertise for Nigeria's industrial growth and development. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, said this when he received the Japanese ambassador to Nigeria, Kikuta Yutaka, in Abuja. Mitaire Ekbe reports.
The Japanese ambassador was at the presidency to extend his country's appreciation to President Muhammadu Buhari for delegating Mr. Boss Mustafa to attend the recent enthronement ceremony of Japan's new emperor, Naruhito, in Tokyo. The envoy described 2019 as historic in terms of multilateral engagements between both nations, citing President Buhari's participation in TICAD 7, as well as Japan's involvement in Nigeria's maiden June 12 Democracy Day celebration.
So it kind of symbolizes how much importance the Japanese government attach to the relation with Nigeria. So this year is special. Next year we're going to have many things to celebrate again.
Boss Mustafa said Nigeria has a friend in Japan and will step up bilateral ties for shared prosperity of the two countries.
To assure you that Nigeria would continue to keep very good and friendly diplomatic, social, cultural relationships with the country of Japan, because I know you have a lot to offer us. We have a lot in turn to offer you.
The Japanese envoy says his country looks forward to hosting the Nigerian contingent and elevating bilateral ties at next year's Olympics in Tokyo. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
And this
NTA International News. Africa as it is.
You're welcome back. The slogan, improving life through standards, has remained the guiding principle for sustainability of standards in goods and services in Nigeria. With the 2019 World Standard Day celebration, the emphasis is diverting to how standard videos create a global stage when quality is applied. Obiageli Ugoki tells us how.
Oftentimes, emphasis has been laid on the quality of regular goods and services. But this time, the struggle is taking a different dimension, which is video and its quality. Video, as a vibrant means of passing information in the modern-day society, has a devastating impact when standard is compromised in production and content, such as corrupting the minds of younger generation, thereby breeding evil practices amongst them.
These days, with the use of multimedia, there's a lot of video conferencing, lectures through using video format. So we have to be really careful that we're transmitting the correct messages that we want in our societies.
The Nigerian Standards Organization, SON, has mapped out programs to promote standards such as Catch Them Young program and the introduction of standards which guide video productions.
The standard for video messages is what SON does in collaboration with sister agencies like the Censors Board, the Copyright Board, and other regulatory agencies to have harmony in the quality and the content of what people view, what the society is exposed to.
The celebration of World Standard Day is an event that recognizes the critical role of various stakeholders in promoting standards across communities, including business leaders, industry, and academia. Obiageli Ugoke, NTA News.
And now we have the head public relations unit of the Standard Organizations of Nigeria, Bola Fashino, joining me live to talk more on the 2019 World Standard Day, which focuses on video quality, creating global standards. Mr. Fashino, you're welcome to NTA International.
Good evening.
Now, as we mark this year's World Standards Day, how can you describe the quality of the video being produced in Nigeria?
The quality of video produced in Nigeria can compare favorably with any other part of the world. When you realize that what is in application are international standards that governs the global village of which Nigeria is one. If you take a look back and see the kind of video quality that was on offer in Nigeria, looking at our Nollywood, for example, you can say confidently that today we have come a very long way, particularly because there are no borders again in the issues of standards. You don't reinvent the wheel where it already exists. Standards all over the world at regional levels, at continental levels, and internationally are being harmonized. So the quality of video production in Nigeria today can be compared to any part of the world.
So will you say the theme for this year's celebration is apt, going by the efforts of the federal government to improve the subsector through different policies?
Yeah, if you realize the fact that the theme of this year's celebration is a global thing, put together by the world-leading standards organizations, the International Telecommunications Union, the International Organization for Standardization, and the International Electrotechnical Commission. So putting that together, it is a theme for the world, of which Nigeria is part. Nigeria's SON Standards Organization represents Nigeria in all of these international standards bodies. And so the theme is taken to be celebrated back home to ensure that Nigerian stakeholders partake in the celebration, look at the development of video, how it has been influenced with standards, and you realize that actually nothing can happen. The stories that we tell easily today from one application to another seamlessly is as a result of the application of international standards. And Nigeria is playing its active part in that process.
Okay. Now, before I let you go, what would you say should be the role of all stakeholders in the effort to ensure standards and the quality of video produced in the country?
That's part of why this program, the symposium that held today, was put together. It is in ensuring that stakeholders participate actively. It gives opportunity for them to reminiscence on the history of video production across the world and, in fact, in Nigeria. And I must say that, given that today is about the 60th anniversary of television in Africa, starting from Nigeria, you can imagine what the production of video was then and what it is today, using NTA as a very good example. So we can only talk about more participation by Nigerians stakeholders in international standards development through the Standards Organization of Nigeria.
Well, Mr. Bola Fashino, thank you very much for coming on NTA International News.
You're welcome.
Well, and that was the head public relations unit of Standards Organization of Nigeria talking on the 2019 World Standard Day with focus on video quality, creating global standards. And now moving on, Propaganda, fake news and hate speech have been fingered as effective tools that are being used by extremists to propagate their dangerous ideas. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed stated these are the 2019 FRCN lecture in Abuja. Anthony Forsen reports.
These are very potent tools in the hands of extremists.
Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed keyed into the theme of this year's annual lecture, which is looking at extremism, a threat to national unity. The minister, while commending FRCN for its consistency in organizing this annual lecture series, said it has become a reference point as it takes on topical national issues for discourse, which goes a long way in shaping opinions.
The power of radio and television, including their wide reach, means that we should not allow extremists to turn these powerful media platforms into catalysts for conflict.
He, however, restated the federal government's determination to inject sanity into the nation's broadcasting space as part of efforts in tackling the menace of fake news and hate speech.
This will go a long way in helping us to understand even more the dangers posed to our national unity by unmitigated extremism.
Guest lecturer Professor Kursim Leonard Foua of the Faculty of Social Science, Haifa University in Israel, put the issues of extremism in perspective by saying extremism is a product of society's denial and poses serious danger to the world.
The Institute of Economic and Peace latest Global Terrorism Index reports that violent extremism continues to be a major cause of deaths and instability around the world.
Borno State Governor, who was represented by his deputy, Umar Usman, applauded FRCN for the effort.
I would like to call on the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria to intensify the effort through the provision of relevant services to inculcate sense of patriotism and self-reliance among the teeming youth who are increasingly become restive in response to the socio-economic condition of the environment.
Director General of the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, Mansour Liman, said the idea behind the annual lecture series is to engage citizens in a mind-stimulating manner that will help shape perceptions.
Today's lecture, which is the 13th in the series, will focus on some of the issues fueling the publication of these fake news and hate speeches, that is, extremist behaviors and their attendant consequences.
There were goodwill messages from some chief executives that were present. NTA's Director General was represented by the Executive Director Engineering, Moses Okwanachi.
I have no doubt in my mind that you will do the normal justice you have done in the past. Whatever that will be the highlights of these discussions will be relevant to the needs of Nigeria, that will promote unity and cohesiveness of this great country.
The choice of this year's topic, according to the organizers, is in response to discrete and pockets of extremist activities threatening to evolve in different parts of the country. In Abuja, Anthony Forsen, NTA News.
An official ceremony to commemorate 60 years of television in Nigeria has been held in Ibadan, where Vice President Yemi Osinbajo expressed satisfaction with the conduct of the professionals in Nigeria today and emphasized the need to build people and achieve oneness of purpose through digital broadcasting.
Today, as we celebrate the 60th anniversary of the establishment of the WNTV, we also celebrate what is possible in our nation and in our states. We celebrate also what vision, hard work, and a commitment to the public good can do. But as Ambassador Farumbi has said, the celebration of the phenomenal achievement in 1959 would be wasted unless we recognize that the achievement represents sturdy shoulders for us to stand on, and that today we can do more. And that the vision of Awo was to build a people capable of excelling beyond even his own achievements.
Practitioners of the broadcasting industry must return to the path of honor and sound professionalism in order to sustain the industry's pride and return it to its position of eminence in the ecosystem of our country called Nigeria.
Presentation of awards for the pioneers of the WNTV with a special recognition of the family of late Chief Obafemi Awolowo. And Vice President Yemi Osinbajo is advocating the sustenance of the momentum of promoting good ethical standards in Nigeria's public and private life to yield benefits for the present and coming generations. He was speaking at the 10th National Prayer Breakfast organized by the Christian Legislators Fellowship of the National Assembly. Olabode Arewa has more.
An atmosphere of love, friendship and togetherness permeating the Christian Brotherhood at the National Assembly is evident at this gathering. So individually and as a group, they express faith in God's ability to intervene and turn things around in Nigeria. Here the Christian legislators, their aides and other guests lifted their voices to God in supplication.
Oh God, arise! Oh God, arise over our nation!
In the last 10 years, the event has provided a platform to remind the legislators of the need to positively impact on society through lawmaking.
We had to come together as a nation, sing the song of the nations and pray.
So all our strategies will fail if we abandon God. So what we have come to do is to give him that reference.
We still have hope that with God all things are possible.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo is grateful that the prayers of the saints are being answered by God.
It is because of his stripes that no physical weapon, no disease can be laid upon you. We are free of disease. We are free of curses.
The 2019.
And this is where we end the news on Inter International. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Justin Bemunyi.